for this lesson, we're going to talk a little bit about strumming basics. Now, it is something that can be overlooked a lot when you're learning how to play an instrument, is actually how to strum, how to pick, how to play, really. Rather than focusing on a bunch of rhythm or strum patterns, we're going to talk about how to actually make the most of each motion that we're doing for these things. Now, I learned the hard way that between your nail and the side of your finger, it is one of the weakest points on our body. And if you strum like how you see Elvis strum in all his movies, using the side of your finger, it will rip open and bleed all over your nice ukulele and scar you for life. But later afterwards, I learned and watched a lot of people play and realized that you actually do want to focus on using your nail on the way down. I'm going to hold a C chord for now, which is that third fret of the A string. And I have my middle finger right in back just to help hold it down. Right hand, you're going to use your index finger, and you're going to focus on using your nail on the way down and flesh on the way up. So nail on the way down, flesh on the way up. So what's great about this is that you do have two very distinct sounds, where you do have that nice crisp down, and on the way up is more of a fleshy tone. So because of that, we actually can create some really cool patterns and have that distinct sound difference between using that nail and the flesh on the way up. Now, another thing I want to bring up is that typically we do not want to mimic those old movies and how they strum, which is this huge range of motion. And they use their whole arm like this. That's not going to be the most efficient way of playing. What we're going to do instead is actually think about a rotation. So if I'm looking at the camera, see how my arm is rotating? With the pointer index finger down, still rotating. Now, when I apply it to here, my pointer finger's down. Again, all I'm doing is rotating my hand. So the range of motion that we really need to do is just having the pointer finger go from one side of the G string across to the A string and back. It's a very tiny, tiny, tiny motion. I know the tendency is to use this whole arm and try and, but there's so much wasted space above and below when we're doing these huge strums. So again, not needed at all. Just these tiny strums. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. With more of a rotation than a full arm strum. Now, a lot of people ask, should I be using thumb? Should I be using index? I'm going to push the index for most of your strumming. The reason is, once you do the strum with the thumb, that down strum, that's it. You're done. That's all you can do. If you use your index, you can add that thumb in later for other techniques. You have more access to a lot more techniques because of it. So focusing on the index, the down and up. Down with the nail, up with the flesh. And think of it as more of a pendulum swing, whereas you see my finger does have that nice arc to it as it's strumming. So even all the fast strums later that we'll talk about utilize that really small range of motion. So again, utilizing more of the index, there are still some very cool techniques using that thumb. My favorite one is actually called the harp strum, is where we'll take our thumb and actually kind of drag it across. Again, left hand, I'm holding the C chord. And I am slowly bringing that thumb across all four strings, which sounds much different than a strum. Okay, so there are going to be techniques where we use more of the thumb, or some of the picking will be used mainly with that thumb. But again, it's that comparison between different ways of strumming with the index, having the harp strum with the thumb. And some people, I mean, you can do some strums with the thumb, but it's going to be a much different feel than using that rotation with that index finger.